The real estate market is overheated, and yet I still see people doing great deals the moment they purchase rental properties to generate passive income. Now, how do they do it? Well, to be able to do it, you gotta be a great negotiator. Want to know how I do it as a great negotiator? Check out today's video because I'll show you step by step what I do in my negotiation with a real estate agent. Okay, let's get into it. Hey, what's up you guys? Lukas here from excelwealth.com. Great that you joined in today because in today's video, I want to show you how you can still get those great deals by negotiating with a real estate agent. And in this video, I want to show you the 3 steps on what you should do before you go into the negotiation with a real estate agent. Now, the first step is, of course, how do you value a property? Because, hey, you gotta do some research before you actually go into the real estate property. You gotta do some research and know how to value a certain property. Now, the second step is you gotta know how to calculate the return on investment of a certain property. It doesn't go like, you know what, we click some buttons and poof, now we got it. We know what the property is, or we know what the return on investment is. Doesn't really go into that. You got to do some research before. And the third step is how do you do the actual negotiations with a real estate agent? And of course, if you stay until the end, I even got a bonus tip for you how you can get that real estate agent send you great properties before it goes to market. They call it off-market deals. And of course, if you want to know, be sure to stay until the end. Oh yeah, before we go into the video, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button because that's the way how we can grow our community together. And of course, if you haven't checked out my latest book yet, be sure to click the link down below in the description to get your own physical copy to know how you can invest your money with only 2 minutes of your day. Okay, let's go into the video now. Now, tip number 1 for today is how do you value a certain property? Now, before we actually just go into that, I actually want to use an example, a live example that I'm actually doing right now with one of my coaching clients. And we've got a property here, and this property here is here in the Netherlands, and this property is currently selling for 129,500 euros. And yes, we're in the Netherlands, so that's why we're selling it in euros. And this property is not a bad property. It's quite a nice property. The thing is this property, is the actual value of this property the actual same amount as the price it is selling for? So it's 129, and currently is the market also this price, yes or no? Now, we can't really tell yet. So therefore, you got to do some research. You got to check. What you could easily do is check the history of properties. Just, you could easily check on websites and on different websites that offer housing, for example, on Yap.nl or Funda. And what you usually do is you check within the last 6 months or maybe up to a year what properties have been sold in that same area. And you can see right away if that price is actually higher or lower, if the property is actually similar to it. Then you'll know and you'll find out if the property price currently is being sold off for 129,000. Is that similar to the property prices that were in the past? Now, yes, we know that prices rise, but then again, prices don't rise with 10, 20,000 per month. They don't. They don't. And the moment you'll notice is that most properties, even in the same neighborhood, maybe in a different street, they'll sell off for 120,000. That means, hey, this property is slightly priced higher than we actually want it to be. But then again, hey, a higher price will scare off most likely other investors and think, ooh, this property is too expensive, I'm not gonna buy this one. And yes, this is how you can create great opportunities for yourself. Now, the second tip, what you need to do is you have to calculate the return on investment of this property before you even actually call the real estate agent and say, hello, I would like to view this property and possibly buy. Yes, you gotta do this before you actually call the real estate agent. Now, how do you do that? We have a simple calculation. So the easiest calculation is you've got an annual income from that property, you divide it by the purchasing price of that property, and then you get a number behind the comma. And if you do that times 100, then you'll get the percentage. But before you actually know what the annual income is of this property, is you gotta do a little bit of research in the neighborhood as well. And yet again, what you do is you check out the history of all the properties up to a year maybe slightly 2 years, but that's about too far in history. Maybe there was no pandemic or any lockdown yet, so yeah, maybe it's a better idea not to look too far into the past. So the moment you do that, you'll find out that you'll see properties that maybe rent off that property for maybe 700 euros or maybe 750, maybe slightly lower, maybe 695. The moment you have that, you could say, you know what, all of a sudden, hey, we've got a rental income from this kind of property in this kind of a neighborhood, and we'll know the income is about 700 euros per month, which is great, okay? But that's what you do. You do that times 12, because then you have the annual income, of course. So the 700 euros times 12 comes down to, then you'll have 8,400, just on the top of my head. And I think so, yes. The moment you do that, so you've got your annual income, which is 8,400, you divide that by 129,500 euros, and then you'll see a number behind the comma, you times that times 100, then you have a percentage, and you'll see the return on investment of this property, before taxes of course, is 6.5%, which is not a bad idea, I suppose. And if this is the return on investment that you like, hey, there are your numbers. But of course, we always want to have more return on investment, right? So if you could get the price, the purchasing price, if you could get the purchasing price down, your return on investment goes up. Or if you get that rental price up, same idea, you'll get the return on investment up. And even better, if you could get the purchasing price down and the rental price up, dude, your return on investment will grow even more. But then again, is that realistic? That's the next question. Because tip number 3 is, how do you negotiate with a real estate agent? You already have the numbers. With the current rental price and with the current purchasing price for the property, you already know you can get a 6.5 return on investment each year on this property, which is not a bad deal. You already have those numbers. So now what you could do is you gotta call the real estate agent, say, hello, sir, I would like to view this property, and you know, let's just make an appointment. Okay, is that a great deal? The moment you make that call, you already know what your numbers are. Now, the moment the real estate agent says to you, okay, we've got a lot of people that want to buy this property, so you're number 22. If that's the case, then most likely your chances of bidding a lower price is not going to happen. And yes, most likely, if they have 22 people who are interested, most likely the price is going to go up. And if the prices go up, you already know that your rental price either has to go up as well, if you want to stick to the 6.5 return on investment, or if you stay with the same amount of rental price, because that's a realistic price, then most likely your return on investment, goes down. And yes, that's something that you have to keep in mind. So yeah, you've got your numbers already, but that's not about it. It's not about the numbers. It's not about the numbers that you discuss with your real estate agent. Now, you have those numbers in mind, but what you want to have is that you want to have that the real estate agent talks to you genuinely, and even if he can, spill some numbers to you. And this is the interesting part of this. My coaching client did the exact same thing. So she actually reached out to the real estate agent. She did those numbers already. So she had these numbers. This is why I know these numbers right now. Because she did a research before we actually went to view the property. Now, the interesting part was this. The real estate agent gave us some numbers. So he was like, yeah, you know, we've got 22 people viewing this property right now. So I don't know if you make a chance by buying this property or not. That already means there are 22 other interested people, actually 21 because we're 22. Yes. So there are 21 other people interested in this property. And yet we've only got one property, right? But how can we get the real estate agent so far to talk more about the families? Very simple. You got to show interest in, yes, the real estate agent, and not romantically, of course, but you got to show interest in the real estate agent. Let's see what he's got to tell. That's the first thing. The second thing what you need to do is show interest in the seller, in the owner's story. Why is the owner selling the property? Because in the end, it's about the owner. They are selling a property, and he hired a real estate agent to do that job for him so that he doesn't have to be emotionally connected to the person who buys the property. But our job is to be emotionally connected to these owners before we even meet them. And that's the interesting part. Think about it. How would you approach this situation to get emotionally connected to the seller. If you can do that without even meeting the seller, the only person you have as a contact person is your real estate agent. This is why building a relationship, not romantically, building a relationship with your real estate agent is super important. You gotta be on the good end of your real estate agent. Your real estate agent needs to say, hey, this Lukas guy, he's actually not a bad guy. Although he's just offering the actual price for the property, I want to sell this property to him. And that's what you want to. Now you want this real estate agent to say to the owner, hey Mr. Owner, I found a buyer who might be very seriously interested, but he's only offering the price that is set for. Whereas all the other 21 people that are interested might be offering more or lower or their own price. If they haven't built rapport or a connection with the real estate agent, the real estate agent will just be, yeah, those are one of the many that are interested in the property. Whereas this one person, this one buyer, he's built relationship with me and he actually wants to buy this property, not only for today, but even for tomorrow. Maybe next time he will buy more from me. That's what you want to create. You want to build rapport with your real estate agent, because in the end, it's never about you. It's about the real estate agent and about the owner. Now in this situation, so my coaching client and I, we found out that the owner actually wanted to live in his property for a few more months after he sold the property to you. And that was interesting because all of a sudden we had an advantage over all the other investors, over all the other people that wanted to buy this property. We knew that this person would want to stay in his own property. So the moment we knew that, we actually asked the real estate agent, so if this owner wants to stay slightly longer in his own property, what's his deal? What's his cut? And all of a sudden, the real estate agent said, yeah, you know what we heard? This guy doesn't want to pay more than 650 euros of rent per month. Boom! All of a sudden, we had a number. We had a number. All of a sudden, if we would charge 700 euros per month of rent to this guy, he would say, you can pay a high purchasing price for the property, but if I have to pay a high rent because of that, not gonna happen. We knew that we had to have a rent of 650 euros per month, okay? Again, we do the same calculation. So 650 as rental income per month times 12 is 7,800 euros annual income from this property. If you divide that number by the 129,500 euros, if you do that, you'll notice that the return on investment is only 6%. The return on investment has gone down slightly. But if you want to know what the actual price is, the actual value of that property, what you could do is, next to all the comparison of all the properties in the neighborhood, what you could do is very easily say like, hey, you know what? Because my rental income is lower and I still have to pay all the expenses of the property, hey, Mr. Owner, can we make a deal that I offer slightly lower of a purchasing price? And how do you find out what purchasing price you should actually offer? Simple as that. Turn the actual formula around. So to do that, you have the annual income, which is 7,800 euros annually, divided by the percentage of return on investment that you want to have. And in this case, let's just say that we want to stick to the 6.5% of return on investment. So what you do is you do that 7,800 divided by 6%, or 0.06. And all of a sudden you'll see the actual purchasing price that you would want to pay for that property, which is in this case 120,000 euros. And this is what we offered the real estate agent. We already know that the purchasing price of this property is 129,500 euros. But because the actual owner is asking for a lower rent, we actually said this story to the real estate agent, saying like, hey man, hey, if you want to go down slightly, we got to still pay off all the expenses, so please help us out slightly as well. This is why we're offering 120,000 euros as a price for the property. And guess what? Who got the property? Who got the property? Guess what? About 2 days later, the real estate agent called. Hello, you actually offered 120,000 euros. You got the deal because the actual owner wants to live in his own property for a rental income of 650 euros per month. This is because we actually build rapport with the real estate agent. The real estate agent said, hey, if you keep your end of your word, I'll keep my end of my word, and I'll make this deal happen for you. Now, all of a sudden, why is this a great deal? And that's the next point. Oh yeah, if you haven't clicked on the like button yet, be sure to hit the like button because, hey, we want to influence YouTube's algorithm, right? Now, the advice number 4 in this video is, of course, how do we get the real estate agent send deals like this in the future as well? But before we go into that, we gotta know why the deal that we got is such a great deal. Now, we purchased this property for 120,000 euros. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's already below the actual asking price that they were asking for. But then again, hey, the rental income was also lower. But remember what the actual real estate agent said? Do you still remember? I don't know. If you don't remember, you gotta rewind the video and go back slightly. But the real estate agent said is, this person, this owner wants to live in the property for a few more months. He's not gonna live there for years and years to come. He only wants to stay there a few more months. Now, I don't really know why, because, I don't know that story. But the actual owner actually sold it to us so that he could stay in the property for a few more months. Now, the interesting is this. The moment this tenant actually moves out of your property, you can find a new tenant. But then you don't have to charge the cheaper rent. You can actually charge the actual rent that is being asked that moment. And then all of a sudden, you're actually asking 700 euros or more per month from that property. Meaning, all of a sudden, your annual income goes to 8,400 euros per year. Now, you divide that by 120,000 because that's your actual purchasing price. You'll notice right away, your return on investment goes up. To be exact, 7%. So instead of having a return on investment of 6.5%, because you did a great deal and because you actually listened to the seller, you listened to the real estate agent, you listened to the owner, what he actually wanted, because of that, because you did a great deal, now your future self will be like, thank you very much, Lucas, for the great deal that you did in the past, because now I get over 7% return on investment of this property. Just because of that. And this is why it's so important to build good rapport, build good relationship, not romantically, with your real estate agent. Now, that's not it. Now, the bonus tip here is, of course, the moment you've built a great relationship with your real estate agent, and because you're an investor, the real estate agent will reach out next time to you as well, saying like, hey, Lucas, hey, you bought a property last time as well, and I've got a nice, interesting property for you as well. Are you interested? Because he knows that you're somebody who's buying properties as if you're eating cookies. And you're buying properties because you're looking for tenants, you're looking for good return on investments. And this is why it's so important to build a good relationship and know how to negotiate with a real estate agent. If you gotta negotiate really well, the real estate agent will say, hey, shake my hand and let's put this hand on this deal and let's get on with the deal. That's what you want to. Negotiating means listening. You gotta listen to the other party, and listening is everything to make your deal happen faster, better, and of course in your advantage as well. Most likely it's gonna be a win-win situation because the owner wants to sell off his property and you wanna get a good deal. And this way it's a win-win situation. Actually, it's a triple win because the real estate agent also gets his commission. So it's a win-win-win situation. It's a triple win situation for everybody the moment you know how to do the negotiations. And this is why preparing everything up front and listening carefully to your real estate agent will help you in your journey in buying good deals. Okay? And this is it for today's video. If you liked the video, of course, be sure to hit that like button. Smash it. Smash it. Yes, you can smash the like button. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button because that's the way how we can grow a community. And of course, if you want to be notified every time a new video comes out, be sure to click that notification bell as well. And then every time a new video comes out, it's like, hey, Lucas got a new video. And that's how you can be notified every time a new video comes out. And of course, if you haven't checked out my latest book yet, be sure to click the link down below in the description. So be sure to get your own copy now. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next. Happy investing and bye-bye.